Well, there you go. You've just witnessed West Ham draw 2-2 with Leicester at the King Power Stadium, thanks to a last-minute goal from Craig Dawson. What a fantastic header off of his sleeve to make the game go and end in a draw. We're going to go through the game. Hopefully we'll have some people linking in from the stadium, just leaving the stadium. It was one of those days today, though, wasn't it? It was up and down. We had possession. We lost possession. We gave Leicester time to play. You know, Matt will come on and we'll talk about how specific players that you would never have expected to not have a good day at the office didn't have a good day at the office, and the players you expected not to have a good day at the office had a very solid performance today from West Ham. So get your comments in. We'll go through as much of the stuff as we possibly can. And I'm going to upload some images as well so you can see everything that's happened within the stadium, etc. But first and foremost, what we do is we let you know the starting lineup for West Ham. So here's the starting lineup that we put out today. Well, Matt, you've joined us. We've just finished witnessing West Ham draw 2-2, getting a Desmond at Leicester at the King Power Stadium. Thanks to this man, that man, Mr. Craig Dawson, first Premier League goal this season. We've just shown everyone the starting lineup. Now, let's just dissect the game as much as we possibly can. Big bit of news came out of us straight away before the game started, and that was the fact that Zuma couldn't make the game. Last minute decision, Diop came in instead. Apparently he wasn't feeling well, and Diop came in. Now, talk to me about how you felt about the fact that Diop was going to step in, mate.
I wasn't thrilled with it, wasn't filled with confidence. Diop in himself hasn't been in a great run of form. Personally, you know, his confidence is shot. So, no, it didn't fill me with confidence. I thought it was advantage Leicester, but I was most definitely wrong, which is why I sit here and I'm not a manager of a football team.
Exactly, mate. I mean, listen, before the game, I don't know, would you say you were confident going into this? Do you think West Ham looked... I mean, we've not been playing with a whole host of confidence, really, have we?
Personally, no. But I mean, I said to you, I was like, it'd either be a boring 0-0 draw or there'd be a gluttony of goals.
Yeah.
Both teams are in poor veins of form. Both teams know how to score but can't keep clean sheets. We've won, I think we've won 6 out of 8, but we haven't been spectacular in any of those wins. Could argue that that's a sign of a good team, winning when you're playing poor. But how many games in a row are we going to play poor and then still get some sort of result?
Yeah.
I said at half time when it was 1-1, I was annoyed that we were drawing and we should have done better. We got a point at the end of it. So
is that a team?
Play,
is that a team? Fighting for this position. With results around the country over the last couple of days going in West Ham's favour. They never say die attitude. I know West Ham went 1-0 up, but we ended up being in the game and we were 2-0 down. But there was a never say die attitude, and we never gave up right to the end, mate. Right to the end, and substitutions made an impact. And we will come across the game in a second, but I want to know what your opinion was on the substitutions. The latter two, initially.
The substitutions did make a big difference. To be fair, I thought they both had an impact on the game. I thought Benny played in Lanzini's position.
Yeah.
And he looked like he made a difference when he come on. But that's not, I think I said when the preview last night that in the Watford game I felt sorry for him because he was playing out on the wing. And as soon as Lanzini come on, Lanzini went in the middle. Whereas today he came on in the middle. And all right, you know what you're going to get. He will make them flicks and tricks, and he will, Benny is Benny. He will, him in his mantra, self-belief, will do it wherever. He doesn't do the old school of I'm going to do it not in half third, but I'll do it at the other end of the pitch.
Yeah,
that's why he's so unpredictable and hard to play against. He's done it a couple of times front of our own box, got away with it, but then he's done it a couple of times in the final third, and he created chances or laid off, had a couple of shots. Vlasic come on, and Vlasic stretched the play.
Yeah,
Vlasic is an entirely different option to Lanzini and Fornals. And even Benrahma to an extent, because Benrahma needs to go and find the ball and be like, Benrahma needs lots of touches. He has to go and find the ball, be in the play. Yeah. Where you saw Vlasic come on, and Vlasic was like hugging the touchline, which is something none of the others will do. Once he come on, we started stretching that play down the left-hand side. He was pushing, running in behind defenders. He's got a lot of strength as well. He was holding people off, winning balls, winning headers, which Fornals and Lanzini weren't doing. So all of a sudden, them 50-50s that we had no chance of winning 50-50s, it was like 100 0 in Leicester's favour. Vlasic turned the numbers back around, and all of a sudden, as soon as we started holding on to the ball, Leicester started regressing, and we started making chances.
Yeah.
It's frustrating that we only have so few substitutions, but I said it when we saw them both coming on. I told you it'd be them two coming off because he won't take off Antonio or Bowen. He shouldn't have taken him off today. He shouldn't have, but it's invariably going to be them. It's invariably going to be them four are going to be the main point of the subs.
Are you?
I think the big sub that he's shout out though, he's Fredericks. In fairness,
yeah. Well, I'll come back onto that in a minute. The question I want to ask you is: are you happy with a point away at King Power?
I said at half time. Me and Russ were on at half time on the watch along, and I said I was frustrated and angry at the time. Now I'm kind of, we've done well to walk away with a point. Look, as I said, it's two teams that are in poor form. We might have the points on the board and the wins on the board, and we're still finding ways to grind things out, which, everyone, good old quotation marks of it's a good sign of a team. It's a sign of a good team when they play poorly and still win. But like I said, how many times are we going to do it? The guys look out on their feet after 70 minutes. Luckily, we made some subs to freshen it up. But we could have been out of sight. And I don't mean as in we could have been out of sight. I mean, they could have been out of sight.
Yeah.
There was a 20-minute spell at the start of that second half where Harvey Barnes had the entire West Ham backline on toast. You know, he was just
He really was.
going at them.
He really did cause us problems down that their left-hand side, our right-hand side. Vladimir Sofal today didn't look at his best, but it wasn't just him. It was Creswell. But for me personally, I think
I think
Sofal
the
had
problem
quite possibly
is
one of his
that
worst games in a West Ham shirt today.
He contained him in the first half, right? You didn't see anything of really of Harvey Barnes in the first half. But then I think in fairness, you have to give credit probably to Brendan Rodgers or to his assistant or his coaching staff, because you weren't really seeing Harvey Barnes in the first half.
Yeah.
But then someone said to him at half time, we're going to go in the second half, you're going to stay high and wide, right? And you know, invariably, Moyes will defend the width of the penalty box, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want players drifting wide of that, not in defensive jobs. So telling him to drift high and wide for Harvey Barnes, he was getting 15, 20, 30 yards of space, like every time we went forward. And the issue is that he couldn't commit.
Yeah.
He then couldn't commit.
Yeah.
You know, there's a few times when it was like he got past him. He's like, oh, he's got past him again. But let's cut him in the box. And it's like, if he sticks a leg out there and he doesn't win the ball, it was a penalty. So it was like.
And to be fair, though,
booked, I mean, Creswell was booked. If Sufal committed, he was. Unless you're 100% certain you're going to get the ball, which he wasn't, he didn't back himself to do it, you can't commit to that tackle.
Yeah.
But it was the pace that he knew. And Harvey Barnes, I don't know if that took him so long to work out that Harvey Barnes is a quick player, and Sufal, get past him, square him up so that he's facing you, he's not on the half turn, you'll get past him.
Yeah.
Took more than 60 minutes.
And I think, you know, the thing is, when it comes to the substitution, I mean, we spoke about it. We were saying that, you know what, he's getting ransacked down that right hand side a lot. He really is. And if there's going to be a change, we were talking about what would you do? Would you do Ben Johnson? Would you do Ryan Fredericks? He made Ryan Fredericks. Talk to me about the impact Ryan Fredericks made.
Oh, you know what? He had that one poor touch when we was trying to press near the end, didn't he? You know, he got rolled out to him and he had a touch went out for throwing. However, look, we could see it, and you know, but we've said before and said we can see something needs changing, and Moyes just doesn't change it.
Yeah.
You know, I'd case in point, I'd say the Leeds game with Lanzini playing as a holding midfielder, he needed to change it. He never did, and we just got continually overran. As soon as he took off Sufal and put on Fredericks, Leicester's attacks basically stopped.
Yeah,
yeah,
they did.
They really didn't have that much more in terms of attack the rest of the game.
What they actually did, what I was just going to say, what they actually did was they actually changed it and they took Maddison off and they put Barnes through the middle because they were getting no more positive opportunities down that left-hand flank.
Yeah, and that was from the pace that Fredericks brings. And he did, as I said, you know what? He had when he come on, he had a very solid game.
Yeah.
And he also offered you the fact that he's got that quickness to get in behind. And all of a sudden, you know, Luke Thomas that come on as a sub midway through the first half for Leicester, or was it the end of the first half or something?
Yeah.
Replaced Justin. All of a sudden, he was on his back foot because you could put the ball in behind him.
Yeah.
And Fredericks has the pace to get there. It did. It was an interesting one that his pace really did change the game. It forced Leicester on the back foot and put us back on the front foot. Then you compounded that with a little while later, they made the two other subs, West Ham. So the subs had a big impact today.
Let's talk about West Ham's first goal. Jared Bowen again steps up with another goal for West Ham, thanks to a fantastic clearance from that man, Issa Diop, who stepped in place of Kurt Zuma today. I mean, but before we talk about the goal itself, talk to me about Diop's performance today.
He was a very composed, assured performance. In fairness, I mean, look, as I said, the Leicester game, the Leeds game, Leeds press high pressing the entire time. Do not give you a second on the ball. Today, as I said this comment just at the end of the watch along, right? If you'd have said before today's game we were going to draw 2-2 and two of the back line going to have an absolute shocker, but one of them wasn't Diop, I'd have been genuinely surprised. But it was a bit like an old school Diop. You know, he was battling for things in the air. He was getting blocks in. All right, his passing still hasn't found it. He hasn't got the confidence in his passing ability, but he stepped up and was counted when it was needed. You know, and they're just showing it on Sky Sports now. They're going through that first goal, and it's a Leicester throw-in that they give away to Diop. And I'd made a comment about 10 seconds earlier. At least Diop tried to play a ball out to he tried to play the ball out to Creswell, and he kicked it over his head 10 yards and went straight out for a throw-in.
He did, and it went out for a throw-in, didn't it? Yeah.
From that throw-in, we won it back, and this time he went inset down the middle of the pitch. And was it intentional? Was it planned?
I don't know, because sometimes it didn't. The thing about the clearance was, if you're a defender and you're clearing your lines, you're throwing your foot through that ball, and it wasn't throwing your foot through the ball, because the reason why I'm saying that is you can actually see the curl of the ball. The ball goes up and over the top of the players.
He didn't just put his laces through it and just
and it wiped out all of Leicester's defence. Jared Bowen broke the defence, penetrated through them, grabbed the ball and fired it into the bottom right-hand corner of the net. I mean, Jared Bowen stepping up again for West Ham, Matt, as well. Great goal for West Ham. But your kind of final thoughts on he said Diop, and anyone in the chat, let me know your thoughts on Diop today.
The biggest compliment I could give him today was that you couldn't tell the difference if it was Diop or Zuma.
Yeah.
Like, if you'd have watched that with no name and number on the back, you wouldn't know. Like, you wouldn't have been like, "Oh, that's definitely a Zuma." You know, Diop put in a very good performance. I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
And maybe that then gives Moyes the confidence that he doesn't have to play Zuma. I mean, look, he could go next game. He could be awful again. But when it counted today, we conceded 2 goals, but neither of them were his fault. You know, that's the only thing I would say is that I can't blame, you know, either of the centre half pairing. Maybe he's playing alongside Dawson. Maybe he likes playing alongside Dawson. They play together.
To be honest, mate, to be honest, I think that what you've got here is, and I'll repeat, I constantly feel like I repeat myself when it comes to the likes of Issa Diop, but I think if you play alongside some confident other players there, you know, Creswell wasn't at his best today. However, he was still marginally better than Vladimir Sofal. I thought this is Sofal, and what's not Sofal's fault, it's the fact that Harvey Barnes and Leicester opted to choose to go down that route all the time. And because he wasn't at the races today, that's what opposition teams do. They aim for the Achilles heel in the team for that performance, and that's exactly what they did. And they did cause us problems down that side. But when it came to Diop playing alongside Dawson and having Creswell, who normally performs really well, I think Diop stepped up today again, and it's good to see, and it's good for him. It's good for him to have a performance like that under his belt. But he did clear the ball. Bowen got into space. Great goal for West Ham. What happened with Jared Bowen after that? What do you think about his performance the rest of the game?
He was in and out of the game. But when he's in the game, you know what he does? He was actually, you know, for a lot of the game, he was on the block better than Antonio was. He was dropping short, getting into feet. Didn't see much of him on the wing, which was quite surprising. I don't know why. Like, he seemed to be, don't know if that was an intentional thing, but he seemed to be tucking in a lot more. We didn't see much of him out on the touchline. He didn't get much service. You know, it just, look, we come out on fire at the start of the game, got this goal in the first 10 minutes, and then we didn't really attack again until injury time at the end of the half after Leicester scored.
Yeah.
You know, there was a big 30, 35-minute spell in the middle of the game where we played more the style Moyes likes, which we sat back and let them have the ball. We only had like 34, 32% possession for most of the first half. But the thing was, we were restricting Leicester to nothing. You know, Harvey Barnes had a pop shot from 25 yards that went over the bar. Tielemans had a pop shot wider than the post from the edge of the box and went wide. We were comfortable. We were letting them have the ball, and they weren't really, you know, they had no confidence. They were within themselves. They were just past. They were doing it at West Ham. They were passing it left to right, slow, methodical through the centre halves, without really doing anything.
Yeah.
And then Creswell gave the penalty away, and that was probably a more key moment for me than the goal.
Yeah,
the second goal.
You're right, because they were, you know, yeah, there wasn't really anything in the game at that point.
I don't want to say they weren't in the game.
No, but there wasn't anything in the game for anyone, really.
Yeah.
Nothing was really happening.
In any Premier League game, every team's in the game, right? 1-0. But, like I said, they weren't creating anything.
Yeah.
They had all the possession. They were having pop shots from distance. The one time they got a decent chance inside the box, Zuma come and put his body on the line and blocked it. And it was a 1-0 and it was drifting out to half time. And you think, oh, this is just drifting out to half time. We'll get in at half time and re-go again. And I can't remember if it was one that Tufal got. It might not have been that one where Tufal tried to head it back to Fabianski and safety first put it out for a corner. It might have been that one, might not. They have a corner from that side, Tufal's side.
Yeah.
It's whipped into the near post. And you know what? People will say Tufal had a bad game, but you could argue Creswell's was equally as bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
Because if you see that header back, at first, in real time, I said, "Oh look, he's just poor. He's misjudged the ball, and it's hitting. It's not just hitting. He's gone up to head the ball, and when he's realised his header's not going to get there, he flicks his arm out at it. He intentionally flicked his arm towards the ball when he realised he'd got in the wrong position. He wasn't going to head it.
Yeah.
And
you can see though, you can see he doesn't argue the point. He's frustrated at himself for that, and obviously they step up and they get a penalty.
You'd been better off. I think it was. Yeah. I don't know if it was in Ndidi or Marty or Dako. One of the three of them was in behind him when that ball gets crossed in, and you've generally been better off letting the ball go.
Yeah, but you're no. But I think that's easy for us to say. But as a defender at the front post, you're never going to do that, mate. You're never ever going to leave it unless the keeper's screaming and shouting, which he wasn't. The thing is, that's just a misjudged error.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're not playing league football.
Yeah, but that's not tactical though. That's not a tactical decision. That's not going.
No, what he made was a tactical decision.
Yeah, no, that was a mistake.
His tactical decision was, I've missed the ball. I'm going to make sure it doesn't go past me.
No.
But this is Premier League football. You do not get away with it.
No. I don't think it is. I genuinely think you can see by his reaction that he's like, why the hell have I done that? It's just a knee-jerk reaction. It's like, I can't get to it, so my arm's gone up.
Yeah, but it's instinctive from the defender. He wants to make sure the ball doesn't go past him.
No defender, mate, in their right mind would let that go from that position. No defender. And if they did, and they scored from that, they would be terrorised, mate. Terrorised.
Well, he's going to get terrorised anyway. He got in entirely the wrong position for the header, right? But as I said, this isn't Championship. This isn't League One. First of all, the ref was in the perfect position and gave it anyway. The ref gave it straight away without question, rightly so. However, this isn't league football. You're not going to get away with it. If the ref hadn't seen it, VAR. So what the point I'm making is there was no point putting your arm up to that ball.
No, there wasn't.
Because you're not playing I'm trying to make you will not get away with it.
The point is, it's a knee-jerk reaction. He's not done it on purpose. He's just done it because it's just been a reaction, a very quick, immediate reaction. It's just a mistake. Literally, do you know what? David Moyes will be sitting there going like that. What the bloody hell were you doing? He didn't intentionally do it. It happened. It looks like it, but it's just that reaction. He's up in the sky, and something. You know what? When you play football, it's like your mind just plays tricks on you, and it's like bang, you put your hand up. Anyway, we're talking too much about this. The penalty gets taken by Tielemans, who equals his best scoring record for Leicester with 6 goals in a season for a player that's looking like he's going to be leaving at the end of the year. And he hit the ball into the same corner that he's done for every single one of his penalties beforehand, to make it 1 each to West Ham just before the half time. A good time for Leicester to score, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I said, they weren't in the game at the time at all.
Yeah.
They had the possession, they weren't doing anything with it. It was a freebie. It was a fantastic penalty from Tielemans. Fabianski went the right way, done his homework, but when you hit a penalty that well, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Funnily enough, that sort of G'd us up. And we had the last chance, nearly had the last chance of the game. First half, Antonio got down the wing and tried to cut it back, and I think a slight arm in the back from Fornals, the defender went over.
Yeah.
And bought the free kick, but it sort of fired us up. It really did. Yeah. The end of the first half. Then half time come and you thought, I was personally thinking at the time, you know what, half time's come at the wrong time.
Yeah, because you feel sometimes that West Ham react better when we do go. A stat came up showing how many times West Ham have turned over a defeat, in a losing position. 12 points from losing positions.
He's now 13.
And you're right, mate. Them scoring that, but that's what makes a team scoring just before half time. Gives them a boost and a boost of confidence, gets them going into the dressing room, and they can all kind of reset and start again. But when they come out for the second half, like you said, we had a couple of chances. They had a couple of chances. However, It was Harvey Barnes again down the left-hand side, causing Soufal loads of problems. He gets the ball into the box. Creswell loses his marker, and Ricardo steps up to score a header to make it 2-1 to Leicester. What was your thoughts then?
Well, I've just watched it back on TV now. They show you, like Ricardo recovers the ball and plays like a 1-2 with Tielemans. And then Tielemans sprays it from deep. But Ricardo runs round the back of Fornals. Yeah. And when Harvey Barnes brings his ball down, Creswell's not even in the box. Like, Creswell's been sucked into Tielemans, right? So Creswell sprints back into position, gets himself back in front of Pereira, thinks he's done well. But then Creswell stops running. Yep. Pereira gets the run on him, gets up across in front of him. But it's because we were playing a back four, except Creswell went chasing a ball. So the back four become a back three, and the centre half Leicester bomb forward. It's fantastic switching ball from Tielemans. And then Harvey Barnes just stood up to the back post, and I said at the time I thought it was poor defending, and it is, like, but it's very difficult as a defender to mark a runner on a header when you're standing still and they're on the move. Which is why I don't like zonal marking, because it's the same problem. Yeah. If you've got a player running momentum against a player that's running in against someone standing still, you're never going to win the header. And Tielemans ducks, Pereira ducks under it, but he catches it and it pings off in the top corner.
Do you think
no less than they deserved? We had a good first 3 or 4 minutes to start the second half, and then we probably didn't see the ball game for about 25 minutes until Moyes made the subs.
Well, before we get onto that, though, is this a good point here? We're still fourth, and Spuds lose. Can't have everything, but need to find our form again. The funny thing is, we're not in form. We're not in form, but we've picked up 4 points from 2 Premier League games and got through to the next round of the FA Cup by not playing well. So we're shaking off the cobwebs. However, we need to find our form again, and that's what we need to do. We need to kickstart ourselves back into that form.
Look, results in the last week have shown you that on their day, anyone in this league, maybe barring Norwich, anyone in this league can beat anyone.
Yeah.
You know, maybe barring Norwich and Watford, who just both look like they might be dead and buried. You know, Southampton, you say we've picked up 4 points this week. Southampton have picked up 4 points this week against Tottenham and Man United.
Yeah.
You know, we got to go to Wolves soon, and Wolves just beat Tottenham 2-0, and Tottenham looked bang average.
Do you agree with that comment from Lawrence? We can't stay in the top four without getting 3 points in matches like that. Yeah, but I mean, Leicester, it doesn't matter if Leicester aren't on form. You know, they're still a good footballing side. They're struggling, but they've been consistently there or thereabouts in the Premier League and in all competitions that they perform in. So is it really, I mean, can we ask for a lot if you're challenging for the top four, considering the results around the rest of the teams? Going to Leicester when their backs up, the tails beyond in between the legs, and getting something from it, getting a point, walking away from a point. You know,
I said last time that a point wouldn't be disastrous. We should be getting 3, but a point would be okay.
Yeah.
The issue for me is, like we said in the preview, that they haven't won in 3 games. They got disharmony in the team and the squad with the manager. Tielemans is on his way out, it looks like, in the summer. Rodgers doesn't seem to be getting things right. Did get the decision with Harvey Barnes right. And you felt when we went 1-0 up, we just didn't capitalise on the situation. And then we gave them that goal right on half time, and then they got their confidence up.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a good team and you're going to be in that top 4, when we went 1-0 up, was it Moyes' decision? Was it the team decision? We were on the ball containing the game 1-0 up, and we looked like we could go on more. And all of a sudden, we just went 1-0 up. Now we're going to sit back.
Yeah.
And we invite it on, which I know that's the way Moyes plays. And you know what? In fairness, it wasn't. They didn't look like scoring, which is what Moyes would be quite happy with that. But then we gave away a stupid penalty. Yeah. But you just think if we'd have just pressed on, if butts, hands, maybes, you could have maybe had 2 or 3 in the first half. The way the game was going when we were in the ascendancy.
We're literally, you know, we've made
and
2
just
subs.
Showing the goal back in his handball. They're just showing the second West Ham goal back in his handball.
Is it handball though?
Yeah. Their Sky Sports in their studio freeze framed it hitting Dawson's arm. They've zoomed in, and it's on that position on the arm where the ball is on the, should we say, on the end of the sleeve, so it looks like it's half on the sleeve, half on the arm. In which case, it should have been handball. But you know what? I take the point.
Yeah,
I'm watching in front of me.
Yeah, no, but it's not always what I mean. Like, I know they're saying it is, but it's not. So anyway, we move on from that. Listen, game's coming to an end. We've made 2 substitutions. Benny and Vlasic, they have made a big difference, haven't they? Why did they make the difference, mate?
They just offered something different, you know. The ball wasn't sticking in the second half, so Lanzini wasn't really getting on the ball to make the passes that he wanted. Obviously, they had Ndidi and Dewsbury Hall sitting back there as like a 2, and they were really doing well containing it. Ben Rama come on, but Ben Rama will go chasing the ball.
Yeah,
Lanzini likes to sit in the hole and pick up the ball and spread it, whereas Ben Rama will go chasing the ball and then making things happen, which he did. Fornals is a very good technical player. He's a workhorse, but isn't a winger. Moyes likes it because he's a brilliant passer. The ball's got good vision and he works hard. Vlasic come on and he started spreading the play. Vlasic started hugging the touchline. He was running in behind Pereira. It gave Creswell an easy out ball. Creswell could feed it down the line. He had the strength to hold people up. Vlasic started competing for the 50-50s, you know, headers. He was actually competing for. He won a couple of free kicks because he was actually putting his body about to win the headers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of a sudden, just them 2 little things, we started holding on to the ball. Which, and you know, 70th minute or something, they come on 70th. No, it was like nearly 80th minute.
It was nearly the 80th minute. Yeah.
But all of a sudden, we started holding on to the ball. They started regressing because, you know, and a combination of the 2. Us not just having the ball constantly coming back at us and then retreating because we got the ball, we started to build a bit of pressure again.
Yeah.
You know, we had a couple of free kicks, a couple of corners in a row.
And Benny had a couple of chances.
A couple of half chances.
Yeah.
One volley over the bar, one he smashed straight into the hands of Schmeichel. Then the turning point, and this is what it looks like the Leicester fans are all saying the turning point is as well. Rogers brought on Vestergaard. Now, I said at the start, he is at the moment seems to be our answer to Diop. Diop, however, had a very good game today, but Rogers doesn't know how to see out a game. Like, he just can't do it at Leicester at the moment. He'd been better off putting another attacker on and trying to hit us on the counter attack.
Yeah,
he put on Vestergaard for an attacker. You know, I think it was it for Dewsbury Hall or was it Harvey Barnes?
Well, hold on a minute, Matt. We've got Stel. Well, we've got him. Stel, give me your brief thoughts, mate. Maybe not. Maybe we are. Maybe we're not. Stel.
Hear me?
Yes, talk. Go for it. Let us know your thoughts.
Well, very good first half and terrible second half. Basically, I think we did all right in the first. We just unlucky enough to give away a penalty, got them back in the game.
So keep going. I mean, let's talk about, you know, have we lost you? You still there? Still? There we go. We'll wait till he gets back on. Let's talk about the goal, mate. The man himself stepped up to the plate. Craig Dawson saved the day for West Ham. A corner. West Ham have kind of a multitude of corners in a row. And the Antonio standing on top of the keeper. Diop standing on top of the keeper. Puts the pressure on. Ball gets whipped in. Dawson scores the goal with his bicep. The top of his bicep. Let's say that. Talk to me about it, mate.
Well, like I said, he brought on Vestergaard to try and see the game out. Went to back 5, sacrificed one of the best players in attack. But we started building momentum, didn't we? We had a couple of corners in a row, and as I said to you in the preview, their Achilles heel is they cannot defend set pieces.
Yeah.
You know, they showed during the game the stat of they've conceded more goals from set pieces than anyone else. And we were the kings of set pieces last year. Ball gets whipped in. very clever play from West Ham, sticking both Diop and Antonio on Schmeichel, which meant that two lesser defenders had to go mark as well, and that penned in Schmeichel, which meant you could whip it in almost on top of the 6-yard box. Schmeichel could not. There's so many bodies in front, he could not come and get it. And then you had Souček and Diop and Rice running from deep. I don't know who was marking Dawson. We got up above him. Defender probably feels hard done by. I thought he did enough to put him off. Come off the sleeve.
There you go, mate. I know. Is that the one? Is that the one I'm looking for? No, this is the one I'm looking for. There you go. This is the one.
Is that Marty?
So I'm a Marty. Yeah.
Comes off the sleeve. At least it looks like it come off the sleeve. It might not have come off the sleeve, but sleeve is not handball. It looks like it's come off his shoulder, off the sleeve, and it goes in off the crossbar. And West Ham get out of jail again.
Let's bring Stell back on again. Stell, can you hear us, mate? Stell?
I can hear you.
Right, on you go, mate. You just need to talk. You just need to talk. Go for it.
All right. Well, first time, pretty good.
Oh, we lost him again.
We lost him again. Yeah. Right. So yeah, that really kind of brings I mean, all in, mate. All in. What I think we've got here is, and listen, you can shoot me down, shoot the message, or whatever you want to say, or whatever. But I actually think we have actually got 15-ish, 16-ish players, right, that Moyes heavily relies on. But in actual fact, we heavily rely on several positions with 2 or 3 players. So I'll give you the example. It's like you've got the Ben Ramas of the world, you've got the Vlasticics of the world, you've got the Fornals, you've got the Lanzinis of this world. And those 4 players can seem to, on their day, together collectively, when they're subbed on and subbed off, get West Ham through. What we've got really is 4 players that can play a half each, really. But none of those 4 players right now under current West Ham form can play a full 90 minutes and give us what we need in the 90 minutes. Harsh judgment on the players.
I think Russ made a point during the watch log. It either seems to be, and the only 2 players I exclude outside his statement is Bowen and Rice. Right? Everyone else seems to all play in form together, or they all have absolute stinkers together.
Yeah.
Rarely at the moment do we seem to have a game where, you know what, this guy's not doing it, but this guy's stepping up. And I said the only 2 I would take out of that statement is Rice and Bowen, because Bowen's frigging scored how many games in a row? Right. But you had the stat earlier. He's second now. Is it 15 goals and assists combined this season?
15 goals and assists, yeah. Second behind Salah.
Which is like 1 less than like Grealish's best ever season at Villa. Like, you know, and we know what Rice does. Outside of them 2, who are both consistent as ever, the rest seem to be flaky. They're flaky. Like they won't share the workload. They won't share the form. You're either all in form or you're not in form. As you can say, that at the moment we're not in form. You know, I made the joke to Russ during the watch along. I said Antonio looks absolutely knackered. Souček looks knackered. Fornals looks a bit leggy. Creswell and Soufal look knackered. If only we had a transfer window coming up to buy some more players to, you know, refreshing the legs in the team.
Yeah.
Look at that game today. You cannot tell me. It just shows you how much it is to do with legs, because I'm personally not Fredericks' biggest fan in the slightest. I think he's a very fast player, but beyond that, he doesn't offer, you know, he's not a natural defender. Like, he doesn't read the game, but his pace will bail him out. He's a reactionary defender. He doesn't foresee the danger coming. He sees it once it's there and then has the pace to react to it. His crossing's subpar, but just bringing on a fresh pair of legs on that right back position Leicester had to change their entire game plan.
Yeah.
Because their one thing was gone. You know, Antonio always looks leggy after about an hour, but I'm pretty sure he's about to hit his highest games played for about 5 years, and we're only in like the middle of February. We've still got 2.5 months of the season left. We've still got a lot of games to play.
We have got a lot of games to play. However, you know what? As someone said earlier on up there, you know, we've taken a point away at home against Leicester City. We're unbeaten in our last 3 games. Kidderminster, since the kind of turn of the break. Kidderminster, Watford, Leicester. Not performances to write home about whatsoever at all. Not fantastic performances. Some only really individuals getting us through these games. But we're there or thereabouts, and results are going right for us in the Premier League in order for us to keep sitting in the position that we are. A lot of people always say we're riding our luck in that position, but at the end of the day, you need to be in that position and you need to have points on the table in order to do it. And the only thing I can hope for, Matt, is that, you know, Moyes will consistently say we need to put out better performances, and nobody's denying that. Everybody completely agrees with that. We do need to put out better performances. But what I do like from what I will take as a positive today is that certain players that we needed to have a good game had a good game. So it doesn't concern me massively that Sofal didn't have a good game today, because we know what he's capable of doing. It doesn't concern me that Creswell had a marginally better game than Sofal, but still not a great game in the West Ham shirt, because we know what he's capable of. The concern at the start was Diop. He turned up, he'd done a job, and he's proven quite a few doubters wrong. It's now about being consistent in those performances and progressing forward. Lanzini started today, was a bit missing, and Fornals again also missing. But the 2 impact subs, players that are confidence players that haven't been playing great as of late for West Ham, came on and made a big difference. Vlasic and Benny. And what we've got now, Matt, is 3 players that haven't started consistently over the last kind of couple of weeks, who have turned up and done a job for us today to get us this result over the line. You know, a Desmond, a point. And for me, that's the positive I would take from that. So whether Zuma comes back into the next game, and I can see people here saying Diop deserves to start, etc., you know, and I can see how people will say, but I've said all along about Lanzini and Fornals and Benny and Vlasic. I always think that there's going to be 2 players per position. And the good thing is you've got those kind of players off the bench that can come on and make a difference. So if the next game it's switched and it's Benny and it's Vlasic, or it's Benny and it's Lanzini, or it's Fornals and it's Benny, or it's Fornals or it's Vlasic, the point of the matter is you've got 2 impact subs that can make a big difference, that can hopefully get this over the line. Of course, we as West Ham want to progress with the starting 11, but it is a squad game and there's no iron team, and that's what he's done today, and that's what I've got to do. I've got to, give credit where credit's due. We didn't play well, we didn't play great. They played well. They created problems for us down the right hand side. People are saying, do you know what? When it comes to Moyes making substitutions, he was 20 minutes late, but he did make the substitution 20 minutes later than what we wanted, but it was still 30 minutes earlier than what we are used to. And it did change it. It did change. So, do you know what, mate? Craig Dawson stepped up to the plate for West Ham again today. And the big thing is here, I can't get my head around the fact that Craig Dawson 2 years later is still being our consistent centre-half who turns up week in and week out and gives us a solid performance, mate.
Well, don't forget, is he still injured as well?
Apparently so.
Played through the pain barrier, and then he's popping up with goals as well.
Absolutely.
Look, we obviously all wanted to win, but if you can't get a win, make sure you get a point.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, let me give you the stats for the game at the end of the game as well, which people always like to hear. The final stats of the game, of course, West Ham drew 2 each with Leicester City. Leicester had 56% possession to West Ham's 44%. They had 13 shots. We had 8. They had 2 on target. We had 3 on target. 7 off target for Leicester to our 2. They had an 82% passing success rate. We had an 80% passing success rate as well. And there's loads more stats there, but you know that's what makes it interesting. Newcastle up next, mate. 2 home games in a row.
Could not pick a worse time to play Newcastle. They've just won 3 on the bounce.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they hadn't won before Eddie Howe come in. They've now won 3 on the bounce.
Yeah.
We have to see what their injuries are like. They lost 2 fullbacks injured today. One of them was Trippier. Maybe cross our fingers he's not playing. They're an entirely different team. They look very good today against what has been an upward Aston Villa team.
Yeah.
Really reduced Aston Villa to not a lot of shots on target. You know, they are now one of the informed teams, Newcastle, down in that relegation fight. And
but before we go, I've got 2 questions to ask. I'll ask you, Matt. Talk to me about Antonio, and then in the chat, I want you to give me your man of the match for today's game. So, Matt, thoughts on Antonio?
He needs a rest. Like, he needs a proper rest. Like, as in, he needs like 2 weeks of not playing games. But we just don't have it. You know, and the problem is, and I selfishly can't, you know, selfishly want to blame him, but professionally can't blame him.
Yeah.
Why is he playing for Jamaica? Why? They're
Is
like
that the biggest concern? Do you think that is what's having the biggest knock-on effect for him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last season, even like in the second half of last season, when he was like, we've only got 1 striker. Yeah, but then they go on an international break and he was getting a week away on not having to play. He was getting a bit of time off.
Mm.
But then this goes down to David Moyes. Just any sort of centre forward would have made a difference. Because not only now is Antonio just knackered all the time because he's playing 2 games a week every week, but he also knows that he can't give his fullest. He can't go out there and just at the start of the first whistle, and just run himself into the ground. Because if he does that and he's knackered after 60 minutes, he's not getting subbed off.
Yeah. Because
we don't have anyone else. So he can't even he has to play within himself to make sure he lasts 90 minutes, because when you're not getting the best out of him.
Yeah.
Because we don't have, you know, I don't know who's available. There must be some guys available on free transfers. Like, just get one of them in. Give him a frigging pay-as-you-play deal or something, just till the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like, just so that, you know, when we had Norwich the other night, you could have rested him. You could have played someone else.
Yeah.
You could play the other centre forward. 20 minutes to go today. Antonio's shattered. All right, maybe he brought Vlasic and Bowen on, Benrahma on, so he wouldn't have taken him off. But the option would have been there. You know, he's knackered today, and then I think we got. Is it just next game Newcastle next weekend?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm at the point where I'd be like, you know what, give him 2-3 days off.
See what he does.
Come back to training Wednesday. Like,
I listened to a cheeky
interview. For 2 days.
I listened to a cheeky interview with Neil Warnock with Jimmy Bullard, and Neil Warnock said he signed Clint Morrison when he was it at QPR, wherever he was, and he said, I'm gonna buy you, mate, but I don't want you to train with us. I'm gonna tell you when you can train with us, and I'm gonna bring you in maybe one day to have a good training session, then you can come in and play the game the next week. He said that's how he got the best out of Clinton Morrison, and maybe that's what West Ham need to do. Because listen, with Antonio, I know he does a lot of work rate for West Ham. But in actual fact, there was maybe 3 occasions in the game today that I thought he'd done what we want him to do, which is hold up the play, back to goal, use your strength to hold off the defender, hold on to the ball, wait for players to come in and play them off, and not do backs to goal, 40 yards out, 50 yards out, 60 yards out, and try and knock the ball past the defender and run into no man's land. And that's the thing. If he just goes back to that basics, I think what you'll find is a confident Antonio who'll then drive into the box because he's got support and ping those balls into the middle when he is in there to hopefully tap them in. And that is something obviously we're lacking. Matt, before we go, mate, because I do need to go, what is who is your man of the match? I mean, it's an overwhelming Diop in the chat today.
That was what I was about to say. Is just you can flip a coin between Dawson and Diop.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe your favourite. I mean, Dawson got the equaliser, so you could say that favours him. However, you could flip the coin and say, well, Diop wasn't even supposed to be in the lineup, and he stepped up. Maybe that's what edges it. He stepped up right at the last second. You know, literally, we were like, what, 20 minutes from kickoff, and we were like, Zuma's not going to play.
Yeah.
One of them two, you could argue either way. But I thought both, actually, considering we conceded 2 goals, I
Yeah.
thought both the centre halves were outstanding.
Yep. Absolutely. Listen, that brings it into our match day highlights review show. West Ham walked away with a point. A Desmond against Leicester City at the King Power Stadium. For me, I'll take a point. Onwards and upwards. Next, Newcastle at home at the weekend, and it's going to be an interesting fixture. Actually, is it the weekend? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Saturday. We're now onto a Saturday fixture. I think it is.
It's Saturday lunchtime.
Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you are new around here, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you are also interested, you can click the bell notification. That will then notify you when a show does go on in advance of the show. We've got a membership program. Click the join membership option as well. Today is Sunday, which means tomorrow you should see the West Ham Weekly with Stell. So keep an eye on the channel. We'll have a match day debrief with Russ tomorrow afternoon. He'll go through the game, give you his player ratings, etc. as well. And hopefully we'll be bringing the player ratings show back in due course. So keep an eye on it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Matt, any last words you want to say, mate?
Onwards and upwards, maybe. Take a point. You know what? On a balance of play, we nicked a point. We'll take it. Keep moving forward.
Absolutely. Come on, you irons. Stay safe.